Well, a very good evening and many thanks indeed for joining us. My name is Amudu Tiron. This is KTV Primetime News. It is a Tuesday, the 30th day of August, the year 2022. And today has seen a lot happening in the country, in the political scene. We had a pre-trial conference at the Supreme Court ahead of the hearing of the presidential election petitions, where the seven-judge bench shall render a verdict to determine the fate of the President-elect Dr. William Ruto. Will his declaration as the President-elect be sustained or nullified, that we may face another election on this post? Just a lot for you tonight, but first, let's take a look at the stories making headlines tonight. The Supreme Court holds a pre-trial conference to clear way for the presidential election petition. Abdul Swamad Nasir defeats Hassan Omar to clinch the Mombasa governor's seat. ODM's Barasa Fernandez beats Cleophas Malala in Kakamega gubernatorial race. Supreme Court rejects Wajakoya's bid to be enjoined in the presidential election petition.
This is KUTV Primetime News with Omondi Otieno.
Welcome to the broadcast, and I'm not alone. I'm with the company of Moses Gitonga, who is our sign language interpreter tonight. And in the course of this bulletin, we shall be having a discussion with Professor Kotunde on the Supreme battle, because the battle has just begun at the Supreme Court. The petitioners will be giving heavyweights to the respondents, and of course the winner of this match will decide the fate of this presidential election petition. We are streaming live our broadcast, this broadcast on our social media platforms on Facebook, KTV Kenya, on Twitter, KTV_Kenya is also live on YouTube at KTV Kenya Live. Now, the Supreme Court has rejected 3 suits from the presidential election petition, including President-elect William Ruto's request to bar the Law Society of Kenya (LSK) from being enjoined in the presidential petitions as amicus curiae. The court has also rejected the suit by the former Gatundu South Member of Parliament, the Chama cha Kazi Party leader Moses Kuria.
The Supreme Court, led by Chief Justice Martha Koome, on Tuesday held a pre-trial conference to review the 9 presidential petitions filed. The court has thrown out the request made by the President-elect William Ruto to bar the Law Society of Kenya from joining the petition, and has moved to allow the LSK to join the proceedings as amicus curiae. The court has also rejected the suit made by Moses Kuria to bar Azimio party leader Raila's petition on grounds of election malpractice for lack of substantive evidence. The Chief Justice also threw out Agano party leader and presidential candidate David Maure's suit to be enjoined in the case. The court moved to consolidate petitions that raised similar issues and sought similar orders. The lead presidential petition made by Azimio One Kenya Alliance Raila Odinga and his running mate Martha Karua challenged the declaration made on the 9th of August by IEBC Chairman Wafula Chebukati, declaring William Ruto as the president-elect, citing manipulation of the poll results. Other petitions filed were by John Njoroge, who sought clarification on the validity of the results if 4 commissioners of the electoral body rejected the results. The Youth Advocacy Africa Group and Peter Kirika also filed a petition seeking nullification of the presidential election on the grounds of poll outcome manipulation. Senator-elect for Bungoma Okia Omtata also sought nullification of the presidential election, claiming that no presidential candidate reached the 50% plus one threshold. Public interest litigant Khalef Khalifa plus 3 others also sought nullification of the results and access to the KIMS kits, which he believes to have been used to alter the results. Chief Justice Martha Koome has highlighted 9 issues for determination that the court will seek to resolve, with some of the issues being whether there were irregularities and illegalities that affected the poll outcome, and whether there were unexplained discrepancies between voters' casts, among others. Zipporah Warogoro, KUTV.
Thank you, Zipporah Warogoro, for that. And still in the political arena, ODM party's Abdul Somad Nasir is the new Mombasa governor-elect who will take over from Hassan Ali Joho after beating his closest rival, UDA's Hassan Omar. Abdul Somad Nasir has been the member of parliament for Mvita constituency between 2013 and 2022. Meanwhile, Hassan Omar, on the other hand, was the pioneer of the senator of Mombasa County between 2013 and 2017.
Tally results from nearly all constituencies in Mombasa County indicated that Abdulswamad Sharif Nasir of ODM was in the lead in the county's gubernatorial race. In Jomvu constituency, Nasir got 15,629 votes, while Omar got 11,038 votes. In Kisauni constituency, Nasir got 17,740 votes, while Omar got 15,898 votes. In Mvita constituency, Nasir got 24,106 votes, while Omar got 19,086 votes. In Nyali constituency, Nasir had 22,387 votes, while Omar got 21,580 votes. The Mombasa gubernatorial race attracted 5 other candidates, including Hezron Awiti of Vibrant Democratic Party, William Kingi of Pamoja African Alliance Party, Said Abdallah of Usawa kwa Wote, Daniel Kitsao, an independent candidate, and Shafi Makazi, also an independent candidate. The governorship election was held on Monday, 29th of August, 2022. Initially, the polls were to be held on 9th August 2022 during the general election, but errors occurred when printing the ballot papers, which led to the postponement by the IEBC chairman, Wafula Chebukati. Muhsin Mohammed, KUTV.
Fernandez Barasa of the Orange Democratic Movement Party won Kakamega gubernatorial seat in a hotly contested election held on Monday, August 30th. Barasa garnered 192,929 votes against his closest competitor, former Kakamega Senator Cleophas Malala of the Amani Congress, who got 159,508 votes.
Kakamega County gubernatorial race concluded with Fernandez Barasa of ODM party being declared the governor-elect of the county on August 30th, 2022, a race that was battled out by 6 other candidates. In his acceptance speech, Barasa thanked the people of Kakamega for exercising their democratic right and giving him a chance to serve them as their next governor.
I also want to appreciate Kakamega people having demonstrated that this county belongs to Azimio by voting in 11 members of parliament out of 13.
He also thanked ODM party and all parties under Azimio la Umoja One Kenya coalition for the support they accorded him during the campaigns. On his part, former Kakamega Senator Cleophas Malala of ANC party conceded defeat after coming second in the race. He took the chance to congratulate his opponent Barasa, saying that the win was deserved and undisputable.
Ningependa kuchukua fursa hii kuwapongeza wale wapinzani wangu, Mheshimiwa Fernandez Barasa na Mheshimiwa Ayub Savula. Ningependa kuwapongeza kabisa kwa ile kampeni yenyu ambayo mlifanya, na nyinyi ndio mliibuka ushindi. Sisi hatulalamiki. Tungependa pia kupongeza IEBC kwa ile kazi nzuri walifanya. Hakuna kura iliibiwa Kakamega County.
Other aspirants included Maendeleo Development Party leader Sam Onkoko, Cyrus Jirongo of UDP, Sulaiman Sumba of KANU, Austin Opiso and Michael Osundwa. Several leaders have congratulated Ferdinand Barasa, among them Azimio leader Raila Odinga and outgoing Kakamega Governor Wycliffe Oparanya. Tracy Nganga, KUTV.
And the Apex Court in the land today held a pre-trial conference on the petition seeking to invalidate the presidential election results. The Supreme Court struck off 2 petitions among the 9 filed last Monday, and also settled on 9 pertinent issues for the determination in the presidential petition. A showdown on the presidential election petition is finally kicking off in the Supreme Court as it convened a pre-trial conference today. A battery of highly experienced legal minds showed up representing their clients who form part of the petitioners and respondents in the petition. In the conference, the Supreme Court clearly formulated the timelines of the petition, issues for discussion and determination in the main trial. The Supreme Court dismissed other petitions among the 9 filed before it, leaving only 7, and clearly framed a raft of issues for determination in the presidential election petition. The issues include whether technology deployed by IEBC met the standards of integrity, security and transparency to warrant a credible election and accurate results, interference with uploading and transmission of Forms 34As, difference between Forms 34A uploaded in the portal and those received at the National Tallying Center, if postponement of gubernatorial elections in Kakamega and Mombasa counties and other elective posts resulted in voter suppression, unexplained discrepancies between the votes cast for presidential candidates and other positions, whether IEBC carried out verification, tallying and declaration of the results in accordance with the Constitution, whether the declared president-elect attained the 50% plus 1 vote threshold, whether there were irregularities and illegalities that could affect the final result of the presidential election, the reliefs and orders that can be issued by the Supreme Court. The Apex Court struck out the petition by the former Gatundu South Member of Parliament Moses Kuria and William Rutos, which sought to bar LSK from participating in the petition as amicus curiae. The Apex Court in the land today held a pre-conference today ahead of the determination of the presidential petition. The ruling that shall be rendered by the 7th judgment will therefore determine whether the presidential declaration was rightfully done or not. Right, and the Interior Cabinet Secretary Dr. Fred Matiang'i has launched a new generation of number plates today at GSU REC Unit Headquarters in Ruiru. The move is aimed at curbing vehicle-related crimes, frauds and duplication, as Patrick Ador now reports.
The long-awaited new number plates with enhanced security features were launched today by the Cabinet Secretary Interior, with government hailing them as critical in fighting crime. While speaking at GSU Unit REC Headquarters in Ruiru, Matiang'i revealed that the new number plates contain an inbuilt security features that allows for tracing of cars ownership by law enforcement agencies.
Together with the amendments of it, because it demanded that your number plate must look and bear certain features. So until then, I'll ask fellow Kenyans that let's take advantage of the opportunities we have. When my friend Njau and the NTSA team are ready to start now changing the number plates and giving us new ones.
He added that the plate that shall be fixed to vehicles imported to the country at the point of entry will be synchronized with KRA systems to help rid cases of tax evasion in car selling business.
That's why we said this project essentially is a process of securitizing motor vehicle registration as a way of addressing the security challenges we've had in the country, and as a way of ensuring that we are able to clean up our society as much as we can of wrongdoers and people whose intentions may not be good for our country. Secondly, we are doing this because we want to help other agencies in government, like the Kenya Revenue Authority, and the others to function effectively. We are trying to help the finance sector.
Transport CS James Macharia, who was present at the event, said that the new plates will cover 12 categories of vehicles in line with the legal Notice 62 of 2016 and allow ease of monitoring vehicles coming into the country that ranks as a major transit hub in the region.
Kenya is like a transit hub whereby vehicles are coming by ship, coming to our country, into landlocked countries, in the region. And so if you don't have a proper monitoring system, tracking system, we shall have a lot of issues in terms of, fraud and so forth.
We've seen the examples of how using technology we are able to go through the expressway. In just seconds you're able to just drive through because you can be identified. And we want to ensure with the vehicles we're able to do the same across the country and ensuring that, one, people cannot continue to fake number plates.
Kenyans are expected to replace the old plates with the new ones in a period of 18 months at a cost of 3,000 Kenya shillings. Patrick Odwor, KUTV.
15 minutes past the top of the hour, it's time to take our first break here on KTV Primetime News. In a moment, we shall be coming back with the discussion of the night, the supreme battle that shall be, of course, the proceeding shall be going on tomorrow from 9 a.m. and we shall be keeping you posted with every detail of these petitions. Stay with us. See you on the other side.
Driving and riding without incidences on the road is such an amazing experience. But do you know while many road traffic crashes are avoidable, human behavior continues to be the leading cause. Speeding, lane indiscipline, drunk driving, distracted driving, failure to wear a helmet, and failure to use available pedestrian ways have been flagged by NTSA as the fatal 6 behaviors likely to lead to a fatal crash and serious injuries. As part of the Usalama Barabarani campaign, we request all road users to prevent these fatal 6 behaviors for their own safety and that of others. When driving, ensure your speed is within the stipulated limits. The road ahead is clear before overtaking. Stick to your lane. Keep left unless carefully overtaking. You're well rested if driving on long distances, and you never drink and drive. Usalama Barabarani starts with you. Fika Salama. This message is brought to you by the National Transport and Safety Authority and the European Union.
Today I am at Jua e-bikes. So if you look at our bike, it's quite competitive compared to Boda Boda, which is currently used especially for delivery riders. This is because unlike a motorbike, you don't have to use fuel. So you basically need to use 12 shillings just to charge the full battery to operate within a day.
This is the battery. Every battery has its own key. So you put it in, you unlock. So you get it out. You can take it back in. Okay, you get it out for the purpose, the charging purpose. This is increasing the speed, reducing the speed.
Ukiwa na dukuduku la michezo, tunafungua sanduku la dukuduku kwa ufahamu zaidi. Kila danadana, mitimko, mifiatuko na harakati zote ugani, sisi ni wako mwandani. Kukurukakara zote nyanjani, haziwezi kuangaziwa zaidi ya micharazo michezoni. Mimi mwanaspoti wako matata Peter Pinches Mwaora, ndakuwa na jopo lenye maarifa sufufu, nikufahamishe na nikuburudishe wewe shabiki shakiki, kwa uhakiki na kindakindaki.
Mama twende, nani ameweza nani? we get to celebrate so many special occasions, personal occasions, friends occasions. We have birthdays, weddings, we have anniversaries. And for us to do all this, we need to have cameras, and cameras are operated by photographers. What's the advice you'd give to that young person who has a dream to be a very good photographer out there?
To photographers, probably, I would really want them to be a bit more united. Other places, you know, when photographers are more united, they're able to create a new craft, a new style to.
Motocross is a form of off-road motorcycling held in enclosed road circuits. In Kenya, most of the races are held at the Jamhuri grounds. In today's episode of The Future, we focus on young motocross enthusiasts from Kenya and neighboring Uganda.
Do you think the circus of leadership, the Prime Minister position, the other MPs that are set to get in there under the BBI document, is it right?
It is. One thing you need to understand, Max, when you're having a big company and you want management to be at par, you want to succeed, you need to involve more people, you need a lot of workforce. And so the BBI introducing more leaders, we are having few leaders right now as a country, and you see how much we are losing.
You are watching KUTV Primetime News with Omondi Otieno.
Motocross is a form of off-road motorcycling held in enclosed road circuits. In Kenya, most of the races are held at the Jamhuri grounds. In today's episode of The Future, we focus on young motocross enthusiasts from Kenya and neighboring Uganda.
Hello everyone, this is the new chapter of Let's Be Fit. I'll be host DiCaplo. I'm here to give you various workouts. I'll be having different trainers. We'll have Zumba classes, we'll have aerobics classes, we'll have boxercise, we'll a.m. to 7 a.m. Keep it locked, make sure we keep fit, and that's it from me to you. Let's be fit.
Bila shaka, mbiu ya mgambo ikilia, kuna jambo. Na sasa, katika KUTV Rise Today, makala ya TBT. Tunaongeza kuni, tunawasha moto. Tunaingia barabarani kuangalia hali ilivyo. Takwimu za corona na kupa. Habari zinazojiri na zinazokuhusu na kujuza na kukumbusha yaliyotendeka siku kama hii ndani ya historia. Kisha na kuletea wageni na wataalam. Tudadavui, tufahamu na tuchukue nafasi yetu kama vijana katika uongozi, uchumi na masuala ya kisiasa nchini. Na joto likizidi, tunaingia uwanjani, tunachambua spoti ya Kenya. Ni kila Alhamisi
saa 1 hadi saa 4 asubuhi, nami Vincent Maina almaarufu Ojwang mtoto wa Mariam, ndani ya KUTV, a new experience.
You are watching KUTV Primetime News with Omondi Otieno.
Welcome back. Thank you for staying with us. Now, the Supreme Court today held the pre-trial conference for the presidential election petition, and in the conference the court laid the ground rules for the petition period, including setting guidelines and the time allocations, among others. The court also framed 9 pertinent issues that will be used to determine the outcome of the petition challenging the victory handed to the Deputy President Dr. William Ruto. What does it mean for the country moving forward, and what should the political landscape expect? It is the discussion for the night, and joining me is Kotonde, who is a political analyst. Thank you so much, Kotonde, for dedicating your time for this discussion.
Thank you.
All right, now, today the ball has now started rolling, and it is in the court of the Supreme, the highest court in the land, the apex court. We began by a pre-trial conference of the petition, where we saw the 7th judgment chaired by the Chief Justice Martha Koome, of course, setting guidelines, of course, for this petition and other issues. Of course, it also good that they laid out the 9 issues that should be used for the determination of this petition. And now, looking at how things are, what are the expectations probably from the people you have interacted with, and how you're seeing this political landscape? What are the expectations of the citizens generally?
First of all, I'm grateful for the invitation, and I want to say that as we go forward tomorrow, we expect the highest court of the land to ascertain key areas which they really talked about today, one of them being the technology which was used, if it was really genuine, the forms 34As which were relayed from the tallying center, the ones which were given to the agents of each and every party, and the ones which are sent to the main tallying center at the Bomas. The other issue will be to determine whether the results which were released and finally declaring the President-elect, Dr. William Ruto, were they genuinely done? And if so, what is the way forward based on the issue that we have parties who stopped their swearing in program, and therefore we expect a lot tomorrow on the same.
All right.
Yes.
All right. Now, there is a lot of public scrutiny, not only from the citizens. We are also having public scrutiny from the international bodies. We saw observers from the European Union were sent at the Supreme Court, and the International Court of Justice were also here trying to follow on the proceedings of this petition. Therefore, it is a matter that we are really hoping that the 7th judge bench will be fair enough to every party, right from the petitioners and the respondents in this petition. Now, as we have seen it before, the politicians normally, they were saying that ahead of the elections, everyone should concede defeat if he loses in the elective post. And we have seen it, of course, coming to play in the mini polls, the mini elections that were postponed due to the mix-up in the election materials. We saw what happened in Kakamega County when Cleophas Malala conceded defeat to Fernandez Baraza, which was very commendable. But we've not seen that yet in Mombasa County. But now, focusing on this petition, how are you seeing the parties that are contesting in this petition? Will any of them concede defeat? Rather, will they take it easy as it is anticipated?
From the word go, when the elections were carried out, there was room for questioning the results, relayed. Two, the other parties were saying that they will automatically be in a position to accept the results when they are genuinely done, when they are verifiable, and when the techniques used to produce the results are convincing to the common mwananchi. Now, when it comes to the just concluded two gubernatorial positions, that is Kakamega and Mombasa, we've seen Cleophas Malala of Kakamega coming out clearly and saying that he was genuinely defeated, and the game was equally good. And we've not seen that happening in Mombasa. There were some allegations which was said by either members of the Kenya Kwanza that there was some voter bribery, of which, in the code of law, you can only table that based on the facts.
Right.
So for me, I feel that it might not really add value per se, but in case they have some tangible reports, they can automatically file them at the courts. When it comes to the issues to do with the one we have tomorrow, that is the presidential results petition, we can say that both the parties, they had the right to complain. Because once something is not properly done as per what you expected, you have the right not to cause mayhem, but to visit the courts and even thereafter talk to the court, air your grievances, and if they are genuinely correct, we will automatically see who becomes the real winner.
Right.
And by the way I've been walking around, we've seen citizens just saying that we want nothing but a genuine, verifiable, and attainable results, because we really took time as Kenyans to commit our time to the level that we went ahead and voted. And therefore, most of them are not feeling satisfied with what was announced on 15th of this month by the Chief Returning Officer, Bwana Chebukati. Yes.
All right. Now, maybe just to go back to these mini elections, we have seen what we have seen. Of course, Malala, when he was conceding defeat, he did not raise issues of probably that he was rigged in a polling station. He was rigged probably in a tallying center. Do we probably? I mean, what can this be attributed to? Could it be that what has happened in the general elections, of course, that was held on the 9th of August, has led to the commission, the electoral commission, now tightening their belt so that they don't see a repeat of like what we are having right now, the presidential election petition? Could it be that due to the scrutiny and the weight of these mini elections that they have done the right thing, probably?
First of all, I want to appreciate the IBC in the just concluded by-elections, because as of Thursday last week, all the materials, Thursday, Friday, Saturday and Sunday, all the materials, election materials, were already at each and every center where the elections was to be carried out. Two, there was a lot of preparedness when it comes to security, whereby each and every returning officer, POs and even the clerks were even coming out clearly, saying that as things stand, they are in a position to carry out these elections well, credible, and will be much verifiable. Now, when it comes to our friend Cleopas Malala, by coming out clearly that he was defeated, clean and square, that shows that there is a lot of trust which already they're given to the IEBC. Yes, based on their preparedness. So I can say that the IEBC were not interested in seeing what they are now going through now.
Right.
Whereby they are taken into courts because of a mangled election results. Yes, so that's why they really prepared themselves for this. And also, the numbers were not as per it used to be in the just concluded general election. The numbers was slim. The number of officers who were to man this election were many, and then they were also prepared psychologically for it.
All right. Now, maybe just to go back to the main gist of this discussion, the presidential election petition, and of course you mentioned some of the issues that the Supreme Court, framed as the issues, the 9 issues, of course, that they shall be using in the determination of this election petition. Just to read them out is one, they said that they are going to scrutinize whether the technology deployed by the IBC to conduct the 2022 general elections met the standards of integrity, verifiability, security, and transparency to guarantee free, fair, and credible election. 2 was whether the interference with the whether there was interference with the uploading of the Forms 34As from the polling stations to the IEBC public portal. Number 3 was whether there was a difference between the Forms 34As that were uploaded on IEBC public portal and the forms that were received at the National Tallying Center, that is at the Bomas of Kenya, and the forms that were issued to the agents at the polling stations. Number 4 was whether the postponement of the gubernatorial elections in Kakamega and Mombasa counties, and of course together with the constituency of Kitui Rural, Kacheliba, Rongai, Pokot South constituencies, and other electoral wards in Nanyuki West, North Imenti, and Kwajenga, Embakasi. Could these postponed elections have resulted probably to voter suppression in detriment to the election petition that is in the Supreme Court? And number 5 was whether there was unexplainable discrepancies between the votes that were cast for the presidential candidates and other elective posts. Number 6 was whether the IBC carried out verification, tallying, and a declaration of the results in accordance with the Constitution. Number 7 was whether the declared president met the threshold for declaration as the president-elect, meeting the threshold that is set by the Constitution as 50% of the total votes cast plus 1. Number 8 was whether the irregularities and illegalities of such magnitude could lead to the final result of the presidential elections being nullified. So let us probably look into these matters probably one by one. Where do we give weight? Maybe we can consider the threshold for this election petition, the threshold of the presidential declaration, because we understand that the Supreme Court dismissed some of the petitions. There were 9 petitions and it dismissed 2, leaving us with 7 petitions, and one of them was filed by the activist Okiya Omtata, saying that no presidential candidate met the threshold for a declaration in the presidency, the threshold of 50% plus 1. So as the Supreme Court sustained this petition, what do you feel really? Because IBC chairman Wafula Chebukati declared president that William Ruto met the threshold, but now it is sustained in the petitions that they have to discuss on it, that no presidential candidate met this threshold. So what your take on this petition?
First of all, with the issues under, before the court, the way they are 9 is well put.
Right.
if we can start with the one which ought to have been the first one, the forms, the way they were relayed, were they signed by the agents, and are they reading from the same script? If we can start from there, the Constitution stated very well that when an election was being carried out, the tallying was done. First of all, people were to vote. After the voting, tallying was to be done at that very, very center. After that, verifications was to be done, and the results were to be released in these three forms. One was to be given to the agents in a written form. The other form, same form 34A, was to be pinned outside
the door,
that very, very tallying room,
okay,
for the public to see that whatever is written and will be sent to the main tallying center, that is Bomas, is what they have.
Right.
2, 3, the ones which were to be relayed to the main tallying center was also to conform right with the ones left.
Right.
That is where the problems are. You'll find that the forms which are at the very center, for example, Majiwo Primary polling station, the ones which are at Majiwo Primary, and the ones which are with the agents, plus the ones which are at the very tallying center, that is
the public portal, the one that
the one which is at the public portal,
okay,
the one with the tallying center, are varying.
Right.
That is where the team of Azimio wanted to know, like, how come what was read or what was relayed by the returning officer or PO at the very tallying center is not going as per what we have
at the portal.
At the portal.
Yes.
That is one area which is bringing a lot of animosity to most Kenyans. Then 2, we have 6 elective positions, whereby, for example, we can have a tallying center at Mathare North Primary School, whereby, for example, we had maybe 1,020 voters. Only 1,000 turned up. You'll find that at the end of the day, the results which should be relayed, the numbers should tally.
Right.
Whereby the governor should find the numbers as per the senator, the women in that very, very polling station. But you'll find the discrepancies here, whereby the numbers of the governor are surpassing or maybe coming down to the one for
probably the Senate or the women rep. But this could be explained that, you know, if probably we are voting in Nairobi, most people in Nairobi are people who probably are coming from different ethnic backgrounds. Their main interest could be in the presidency, could be in the gubernatorial, could be probably in the women rep, and probably least interest probably in the members of county assembly. Don't you think probably someone would want intentionally just to vote the governor and the president, and not probably do not want to vote the members of parliament, or rather the members of the county assemblies?
That is very true to some level. It is true that the voting pattern in this country, Kenya, is so much tribal. And also, if you have your son or your daughter or one of your own, you automatically be inclined to him, voting to him, and even surpassing others. But in a scenario where there is a great disparity, even if, take the case of maybe Nyanza region, it might be that the number of voters who voted for Raila might be higher than the number of voters who voted for other members. But if you count all of them, they should give you the total number of votes which were cast at that very station.
Right.
But this is what was being seen,
Okay.
whereby the discrepancies were there. The numbers were not adding up.
Okay.
The number of governors, the number of senators, the number of were really different. This is where the problem is.
All right. Now, probably, Kotonde, because of the interest of time, the issues that have been lodged by the petitioner in this presidential election petition, we have seen, of course, the Supreme Court framing the 9 issues that they shall be using in the determination. Do you think these issues that were raised by the petitioner would have a threshold of nullifying this presidential election?
One, possibilities are there, and we cannot run away from it. Just the other day, Bwana Chibukati said that at the time he was giving out the results, some 27 constituencies were not yet captured. That is one area. 2, by virtue that the forms which were used are not tallying and they are not reading from the same script from the station and even up to the very final end, the bombers. That will automatically be like, who made the mistake and who uploaded this one instead of the one which ought to have been there.
Right.
3, the technology. The one which was used, is it the one which is verifiable? And if not, then who manipulated it in between from the time it was relayed from the station, polling station, up to the main tallying center?
Right.
Yes.
All right.
Just to name a few.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. Now, Kenyans are really waiting for the determination of the Supreme Court, the seven-member bench, of course, that is chaired by the Chief Justice Martha Koome. Whatever will be ruled, of course, the apex court, whatever they rule, whatever they render as their verdict will be final. But we saw a number of issues emanating. We saw Professor Wajakoya, of course, pleading with the court to accord him time, saying that he was also affected as one of the presidential candidates. But the court, was clear to him that he didn't file any petition and is not a party to any of the petitioners or the respondents. I don't think the court was fair enough to him to deny him the chance, of course, to be heard in this presidential petition.
I think, with due respect to Professor Wajakoya, he didn't play it right. You can never tell me to go to an ATM bank if you're not a member of that said bank.
Right.
The same applies. By the time Chibukati was giving his announcement on 15th of this month, it was seen in the public domain. Professor Wajakoya and Bwana Mwaure accepting the results and even appreciating that we accept the results and move on. By him now coming from nowhere, when he has seen serious contenders like His Excellency Right Honorable Engineer Dr. Raila Amolo Odinga coming with this evidence, that is when you want to jump the ship. It might not really add well.
Right.
The best advice I can give to Prof. Wajakoya is, if he knew very well that he was rigged out, he ought to have filed his case before, instead of coming up at the end of the day to at least jump the ship.
Right.
It might really augur something wrong in him, whereby we can even be thinking like he wasn't serious in this real game.
All right, interesting.
Yes.
All right, now maybe as we wind up this discussion, the judiciary that is composed of it is a 7-judge bench, and it's more or less the same thing as the Electoral Commission, which is having the chairman, of course, and 6 other commissioners. But we saw 4 commissioners disowning the results, citing opaqueness in the tail of this electoral process. At the Supreme Court, of course, we're having 7 judges to determine this case. What do you foresee as the end of this whole process? As you know, the judges here at the Supreme Court, there are some of them have handled presidential election petitions, some of them are new to this. Do you think we are going to see them weighing on these petitions and giving a ruling that majority will own and not disown, as we saw in the IBC commissioners?
First of all, I want to say that the commissioners, they did a good thing as per what is expected in this country, whereby if in case you are not contented with the results or any take, you don't need to take the responsibility.
Right.
2, to the 7-team bench of the Apex Court, I want to say that this team consisted of leaders who are fully given the opportunity. They went through a lot of scrutiny, whereby they cannot give us something which might be costly to the country. 2, they know what it takes and where the emphasis are. By all means of all the evidence which were brought, they will not be read, as they said that they only wanted senior counsels to be in there.
At the courtroom.
Exactly.
Yes.
That means everything will not be read. They will just be going to key areas and giving referrals. They give referrals that check article such.
Right.
So that from there we will automatically get the best out of it, without manipulation, without intimidation, and without any threat coming from all quarters. What I want to say to these teams, that is team Kenya Kwanza, led by the President-elect, Dr. Ruto, and Bwana Raila.
Okay.
Let us accept what the High Court, the highest court of the land, that is the Supreme Court, will give us,
right,
and we make great this country going forward.
All right.
Yes.
All right. That's really interesting. Just for the interest of time, we shall be cutting this discussion at this point, but it is a discussion that we shall be having, of course, as long as this petition is continuing at the Supreme Court until the 5th of September, when the Supreme Court is expected to give a verdict on the petition. And hopefully Kenyans are also hoping that the highest court in the land shall deliver justice to both sides of this petition, where we have the petitioners and the respondents. They shall get justice and they should accept the results that shall be given by the Supreme Court. All right, moving forward, the Supreme Court has rejected Roots Party presidential candidate George Wajakoya's bid to be enjoined in the hearing of the presidential election petition. Professor Wajakoya pleaded with the Apex Court to recognize that he was a presidential candidate in the contested election and hence should allow him to be in the courtroom and even make submissions.
The Supreme Court has rejected Roots Party presidential candidate George Wajakoya's bid to be enjoined in the hearing of the presidential election petition. Wajakoya begged to be given an opportunity to speak through his counsel on case number 7, which he had enjoined as an interested party. During the pre-trial conference on Tuesday, Professor Wajakoya pleaded with the Supreme Court to recognize that he was a presidential candidate in the contested election and hence should allow him to be in the courtroom and even make submissions, stating that he was the most aggrieved. In response to Wajakoya's prayers, Supreme Court Judge Justice Mohammed Ibrahim pointed out that Wajakoya had an opportunity to file a petition challenging the election outcome but failed to do so, hence should not blame the court. Monday, 5th September 2022 has been set as the deadline date, which the Supreme Court, led by Chief Justice Martha Koome, will deliver its verdict on the election petition. Christine Mwando reporting, KUTV.
We had
Contractors and suppliers have been left counting losses, with their situation worsening by the new governors taking the oath of office. The newly elected governors vowed not to settle into the pending bills by their predecessors, as Mark Irungu now reports.
After being sworn in, newly elected governors are now faced with the arduous task of settling bills left behind by their predecessors. A report released by the Controller of Budget, Margaret Nyakango, reveals that the 47 counties had accumulated pending bills totaling 107 billion shillings. Migori Governor Dr. Ochilo Ayako has said that his administration will only pay pending bills that are payable, verifiable, and that have added value to the people, promising not to withhold payment for longer.
we will put in place verification committees to ensure that what we pay for on behalf of the people of Migori is what has brought value to their lives, to their businesses, and to their welfare. So those who have supplied anything or have provided services to our people, we will seek your indulgence. We will not hold the payments for long, but we have to verify. It's called trust but verify. We will verify.
The governor has urged the staff workers to resume their duties of rendering services to the people of Migori County, cautioning them against standing in the way of service delivery.
I want to tell the public servants of Migori County that get back to work. Stop truancy, stop maladministration, stop laziness, get back to work.
The list of counties with the highest pending bills include Nairobi County, which tops the list, having arrears of 84.01 billion. Under outgoing Governor Anne Kananu's administration, only 3.29 billion shillings was cleared. Johnson Sakaja had vowed to restructure the county's debts, assuring residents that his administration would adequately tackle the issue. Kiambu County's newly elected Governor Kimani Wamatangi will have a hard task trying to balance the county's books, with the county having accumulated 5.12 billion shillings in debt under James Nyoro's leadership. Mombasa County's pending bills soared to a whopping 4.29 billion shillings under outgoing Governor Hassan Joho's leadership. With Abdul Somad being elected as Mombasa's new governor, he will have to find a way to pay all the bills accumulated. Wajir County's outgoing county boss left behind 3.82 billion shillings owed to suppliers and contractors. Machakos outgoing Governor Alfred Mutua has left behind 2.8 billion in pending bills. With new county bosses taking their oaths of office, contractors and suppliers have been left scratching their heads as they await payment for services rendered unto respective counties. County governments are required to settle pending bills on time as specified in contract agreements to avoid the accumulation of arrears. Irongo Kagodha, KUTV, Nairobi.
Right, and two teachers from Nyamninia Primary School in Yala Township have been banned by the TSC after being involved in pupils' assault. Paul Otieno Sogo and Maureen Awor Otieno were also denied bond after the prosecutor expressed that they may influence the witnesses. The case will, however, be heard on Thursday.
The Teacher Service Commission has banned two Nyamninia Primary School teachers involved in an assault case in July 2022. According to a viral video that had the minor bemoaning the cruelty of his teacher, the reason of caning was his failure to score 400 marks and above. During the proceedings, Tracy Nyambisa, the prosecutor, told Principal Magistrate Lester Simiu that the embattled teachers were in a position to tamper with the witnesses. She therefore requested the teachers to keep them behind bars until the case was solved. Principal Magistrate Lester Simiu heeded to the request and decided that the two accused teachers, Paul Otieno and Maureen Awor, would remain in police custody. She also said that the court's ruling will be given by Thursday, September 1st. The case has been faced with mixed reactions that has also seen the parents of the minor Duncan Otieno Ochido sending a letter to the courts to ask for the case to be withdrawn, which has, however, been denied. Many hope that justice will be served, terming the incident as torture. The accused have been remanded for 2 more days, awaiting a ruling on their bond application by Principal Magistrate Lester Simiyu. Mary Lungari reporting for KUTV.
And Benson Odor has lost his bid to have Agriculture Cabinet Secretary Peter Munya sentenced to civil jail for contempt of court. Munya had been accused of failing to honor an order exempting the Cabinet Minister for Agriculture, Livestock and Fisheries from convening the first meeting of the Kenya Veterinary Board. However, Kisumu presiding judge Fred Luchieng in his ruling said that the applicant did not specify the person through whom the Cabinet Secretary was served. It was not explained why service was not being effected through the office of the CS rather than upon the person who occupies the said position. The judge further ruled that the applicant failed to prove that the Cabinet Secretary was served or that the CS was aware of the order in issue. Alright, let's now take a look at what's happening in the world of sports. Football Kenya Federation in Kirinyaga County is set to resume the normal structured calendar of the football activities after the general elections, when the political heat settles to pave way for the politically sponsored tournaments. The FKF top officials in the county called upon the new county government to fully sponsor one league in the county at the same time, encouraging youth to make good use of their talents.
We are bringing youth back together in football, so that at least once we start playing again our football FKF one. We have had very many political tournaments and they are over now. Now we want to go back to the well-structured football managed by FKF, and we have started with this one today here.
Anna Rafael scored 6-4, 6-2 to book a slot in the quarterfinals of the J1 Repentigny double at the La Rochelle Park in Canada. The Wimbledon doubles junior champion and her partner will face the winner of the second round match, pitting Slovakians Irina Baluz and Nikola Dubenerova against South Koreans Eugene Kim and Hanoka Umeda from Japan. Okutoi will use the tournament to prepare for the prestigious US Junior Open Championship scheduled for the September 4th to 10 in New York. And finally, English Premier League side Bournemouth has sacked the head coach Scott Parker days after they shipped 9 goals at the Anfield to Super third defeat in their 4 games since gaining promotion. Parker joined the Cherries in June 2021. On the same day, his departure from Fulham had been officially finalized and led Bournemouth to promotion last season from the second tier championship. Gary O'Neill will take the interim charge of the Wednesday's home clash with Wolves, assisted by Sean Cooper and Tommy Effick. Alright, and with that, we call it a wrap here on KTV Primetime News. Many thanks indeed for your valid company throughout the bulletin. Our sign language interpreter tonight has been Moses Gitonga, and my good name is Omondi Otieno. And as the case is now on the Supreme Court, a big battle between the learned friends, and of course the final will be declared by the 7-judge bench chaired by Martha Koome. I want to leave you with this, a quote that justice is the constant and perpetual will to allot every man his due. You have a great night. We'll meet next week.
Driving and riding with